So, biggest news was the Pittsburgh shooting of the synagogue.
The Pittsburgh shooting of the synagogue.
Did you hear about this?
Absolutely. There was no way to avoid it. He has what's his name? The guy who did the shooting?
The man is Robert Bowers.
Robert Bowers.
You know, that's kind
almost sound like Bowser.
When I was in school, that's how they used to.
That's how they used to pronounce my name. Dwayne Bowers.
Yeah.
Bowers. Yeah. So so when I heard the name, yes, I heard about it.
Yeah, it killed 11 people. Before he went in to sin, before he started shooting, he yelled, "All Jews must die," something like that.
Okay, so now we have a continuing narrative going.
Yeah, because the week before that, wasn't it in Kentucky? I think the guy said
at Kruger, we only kill white people.
Whites don't kill whites.
Whites don't kill whites.
So it's like,
and then Kaiser Sosa, what's his name? Caesar Sayoc.
Yes.
The bomber.
Yeah.
That nigga name sound like Kaiser Sosa. And I juxtaposed the letters on the nigga last name and it should say Sosa. Just a weird thing. So Kaiser Sosa.
From the, what's that movie?
From the Usual Suspects.
Right.
Or Caesar Sayoc. Kaiser Caesar Sayoc. He also...
It's a little reach. Not all the way, though.
No, it's not a long reach.
It's not a long one. Okay.
Juxtapose the letters of his last name, Sayoc, and you will get Sosa. Okay, so... and that was a mysterious character who you thought wasn't involved, but was involved. Yeah. Long story short. But this guy, Sayoc, I believe, also used to work at a strip club with Stormy Daniels. Okay, so now, I don't know if it's fake news, but this is what they're reporting now. I'm going to show you how this thing all ties in.
Okay.
So the Kruger killer, who killed 2 innocent black people, was saying whites don't kill whites. Caesar Sayoc whole theory was everything Trump, kill everybody who's not rocking with Trump. They say he hated gays, he hated, a whole bunch of black people, this, that. And now we top it off with the Pittsburgh shooting in which all Jews must go. So now we're beginning to get one story being told when we kind of put the pieces together. Not shout out, but respect goes out to all of those who lost their life. Because in the grand scheme of humanity, you don't want nobody to be praying to their God or whoever they praying to, and they have to deal with, And I only say that because we make fun of everybody on this show. We have fun. But certain things just are a testament to what we're all facing in this country now. Everything has been heightened, in my humble opinion. You know what I mean? And then Trump gonna say if they had guns in the synagogue, they wouldn't have that problem. If that's not the most insensitive
that was
shit to say,
I was like, whoa.
You know what I mean? And sometimes I think he needs to think before he talks.
Yeah, I think it's impossible for him.
It's impossible because you don't say that. And when we have to start having guns in the church, it's a wrap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just felt. Initially I felt the same way you felt, right? And then afterwards, and I seen the storm from the media, right? I didn't like how they were using this to flip into, I need to go out and vote because more or less stuff is like this is going to happen if Trump he has 2 years left.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I just thought that was whack.
But remember, anything you're watching in the media, you have to have a heightened sense of understanding because it's all propaganda.
Yeah.
And they will flip a story to make it seem like this is the reason you need to go out and vote, as if this shit wasn't happening before Trump was the president. You know what I mean? I'm very practical in my understanding.
Yeah.
If you tell, again, if you want to know about the unknown, you study the known. These things have always been happening in this country. Now, are we at a time where maybe Trump has triggered a few more people to be bold? Of course. But that goes back to when I explained to you that they put Obama in place so that those people had to suppress for 8 years, and now they're releasing.
When Obama was in office, remember, he was like the most threatened president ever.
In history, because now think about that. How does a man become the most threatened president? How the fuck did he become the president? Right. So don't tell me about mind control, and mind control is not real, and we're dealing with a selection process, because that makes no logical sense. Yeah. these people, all black people, if every black person voted, we wouldn't have enough votes to put Obama in office. It's impossible. It's 45 million black people, 400 million white people in this country, right? So that means that they had to have an agreement that this man is now the future of our country. And in order to get that many people to agree to it and then flip the script as soon as he becomes the president is MK Ultra. It's no other way around that process. Now, I tell people this all the time. Choice is an illusion between those with power and those without. We saw the Merovingian in the Matrix movie explain that shit to Neo. Now, that means on a grand scale, your vote means nothing. You think it does, but they're just looking for your spiritual participation. They already know who they want to be the president. So you go out and you think that you participated in that process. They give you Obama. They wanted to give you Obama to begin with. So now you feel great. Then as soon as Obama get in, you shake that shit off, and now you go, it's a fucking nigga in the White House. How the fuck did that happen? You see what I'm saying? So it's, people shake it off, and then for 8 years, you're boiling because a nigga and his nigga wife, a beautiful black lady with cocoa butter skin and all of that old kind of...
through the TV.
Smell that shit through the TV. She had you knew if you said something slick, she would pull her fucking ponytail back and get to work on your ass, right? Beautiful children, a dog. He kept himself clean, right? The more clean and proper he was, the more they hated his ass. You know what I mean? So you boiled for 8 years, and then I told you again, they dangled a woman in front of you next. Oh, she could be next. And you lost it, and mind control kicked in, and Trump stepped in with a narrative of saying what most people in white America was thinking. That's all. He just said, like, yo, these Mexicans, man, they fucking up. We just gonna build a wall. And they got rapists and murderers, and he's telling the truth to a certain degree. Not the Mexican people, but with any people that you let into the country, right? You heard, what's his name? Tony Montana. I'm a political refugee from Cuba, right? But this nigga was a fucking gangster. So with any people, you let them Haitians in, them motherfuckers ain't no joke. A small portion of them. Everybody else is trying to get into the country to find a better way of life and live, but Trump's flipped that shit to make it seem like they was all rapists, they all killers, we can't let these people in, and white people think like that. They really do. They like, I can't let this, because they feel that their life is being threatened. They like to walk down the street and feel like they own shit, and they don't.
How do you think, going back to the situation, how do you think, this is from Jimmy, how do you think the Jewish community is going to handle this quote-unquote rise of anti-Semitism?
They're going to do what they normally do, and that's they're going to use the media, which they own, right? To make sure that you never forget, because I believe a Holocaust survivor died.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, one of them was a Holocaust survivor, and see, that's how they reintroduced the word Holocaust into the timeline, into your thought stream. I'm like, when will the last of the goddamn Holocaust survivors goddamn die? That's all I'm saying, because they keep finding these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? But it makes you understand it was only 50 or 60 years ago, in the 40s or whatever the case may be, and they would be in their 90s, because I think this guy was 90-something years old, and this and that.
This caused like a huge, like, it was like politicians from like Israel coming.
Absolutely, because they don't play that shit. I wish black people operated like that. You know what I mean?
We forgave them on the roof.
Nah, we'll forgive you. You can kill all of us. We just forgive them. God said forgive. And that whole forgiving mechanism is how white people were able for 400 years to do the shit that they've been doing. Because all they want you to do is forgive. So we whip you, murder you, torture you, castrate you, beat you, hang you, and we are forgiving because we're waiting to get into heaven so that we can have our paradise and they can have their paradise now. That, again, is a form of mind control that has been deeply embedded in our people. Deeply. You know what I'm saying? So people forget. Martin Luther King had a policy of love. And I think people misunderstood what that shit meant.
I thought he was soft.
Right.
When I learned about him, I thought he was soft.
Me too. That's why you're named Malcolm and not Malcolm. Now, with that being said, understanding it as an elder now, right? Our vibration is not hate. Their vibration is hate. I can't beat you on your vibration, right? Because these people will kill themselves, right? He was saying, love don't mean if you coming through my front door, I won't pop your fucking top because I love my family. But don't engage in hate, right? Because all is mental. When we engage in hate the way they're engaging in hate, we lose our foundation.
And you feel it's weird because when you know if somebody's talking about you and you ignore them, you feel more powerful.
Absolutely.
You feel more like these peons. Like
I told you, when Jay-Z for years would not mention nobody's name. Nobody. Everybody kept throwing shots at him. To me, it was empowering him more.
Yeah.
And then he came out with the takeover and addressed Prodigy, Nas, some other shit.
Yeah.
And then it opened up the floodgates because now you have lowered your vibration down to where we at, and now all bets is off.
it happened with Drake.
It happened with Drake. Right?
Yeah,
so you have to understand how energy works. So when our elders who have been programmed to think love and forgiveness, that's a natural instinct of our people, but there has to be an asterisk to that shit. You know what I'm saying? Where self-preservation and love for my people will not allow you to come into my house and violate my wife. I'm sorry. I love them more than I love you.
Right.
And I'll pop your top. You are tuned into the sounds of Urban X.
So like